So next up is Trine.
Trine. So it just came out on PS3.
Yeah.
We reviewed it, but we only reviewed the demo on
Right.
PC a way long time ago.
So we went back to replay it for real.
Yeah, so we actually got review copies. Thank you very much. So we gave it a try, and so we didn't get a chance to do co-op, in which I really wanted to do it, but they still haven't put online co-op in.
Right. So it's still in-person co-op. We're not going to harp on that because we've already given them the business for that. They know. I mean, like people know that we wanted online co-op for this.
Yeah, developers are like, don't worry, next game we'll have it. We'll make amends. But no, so I played the single player, all the way through, and I have to say, there's a couple of interesting things about this. So it's your standard, not your standard, but it's your side-scrolling thing of similar to like Shadow Complex, but more puzzly in terms of physics, right? That's like the overall game. You have a wizard who can draw boxes and move stuff with telekinesis, a thief who can use a grappling hook and shoot arrows, and then a warrior to fight.
Yeah.
Right. So you switch between these three characters to go through all the different levels.
Right.
And like when you go through the level, like what was your feeling when you were playing like a lot of the earlier levels? I mean, did it feel a little too easy for you? Because that's one of my main complaints.
It started off easy and it got harder, but the thing that was really getting me is that a lot of it didn't feel like the puzzles were that hard to solve, but they were hard to implement my solution.
You gotta know what you need to do. Yeah. That's exactly the problem.
Like I look at it, I'm like, oh, I know exactly what to do. I need to draw a box and use it to drag these potions off, or I need to like prop up this teeter-totter with a box and then run along. I mean, like you look at it, you're like, done. I can solve that shit. And then you try and do it
in the physics,
and you're just fighting with the physics. Like I really felt like for me it was a battle a lot of the time.
Yeah, and like some of the things I like if you look back in the day, there was Incredible Machine a long time ago, which that's what it all was. You put a mousetrap, you put a catapult, you put a cat, you put a mouse, you do all this stuff, and then they kind of like all interact together to do something. Yeah. And it's kind of fun, it's kind of interesting that way. But when you put it into this D&D style world where you have to go save the princess, you have to go do something. It's just frustrating.
Well, one thing you have to say about things like the Amazing Machine, I forget what that was.
Incredible
Machine was that it was a lot more of a finite state machine in those things, like where it was just like the pieces fit together like Legos, and you're like, I'm going to do this, 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 and this, and it would work the same way every time. You're like, I know if I build this, it's going to go down this thing, it's going to do this, it's going to do that, and it's going to work. But with me, on Trine, a lot of times I'm like, I draw the box and it's like, oh, when I picked it up this time, it's spinning this way and it won't do the thing, and like the physics don't always act the way I wanted them to, so it's almost
the physics are almost too good. Me, right? I mean, because they're using probably using the Havoc engine or something like that, and like they're really good. So like, there's some things where like you have this couple of spinning. This was the one that pissed me off the most. You have these spinning X's, right? Yeah. And then you have to draw ramps to land on top.
Right.
But then I do on top, they go.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, okay. And then, I just, spend like 5 minutes of arranging these things. And basically, by the end of the day, I finished that level by pure luck, where somehow they just kind of, managed to go trial so that I could jump. And that's what I'm finding more with the more later levels, is that they make these puzzles like very hard, but it's almost more trial and error.
That's exactly
this little zing,
Because I want to look at something and have the hard part being, I look at it and I'm like, oh, I need to do this, and then having to do this be easy, because it's not the arranging the block on top of the X's that's fun. It's to realize I need to do this on top of these spinning things. That should be easy.
You're right, because with Shadow Complex, you're like, okay, I need a gun to go in here. And I need to use a special power to do this. Yeah. So
Shadow Complex is just like implementing your ideas was just awesomely easy. You're like, I'm gonna run over here, jump over this, shoot over to here, use a rocket over here. I mean, like once you figured out the puzzles, it was a joy to dive in and then implement your solution.
Yeah, and I'm thinking like in general, maybe a co-op local will be more interesting, because if you're playing together and like you're toying with this stuff, maybe it's more fun. Like, hey, stop fucking around, or like, say, move this stuff. I don't know, since I haven't really played it that way, but it's just like as it stands by myself, it's just like it looks really pretty.
It looks
it's so
pretty.
Well done. The voice, everything is really good and well polished.
Yeah.
Level design and the fact that you're having to fight in between, that's the other thing that was really frustrating to me. It was just like when I'm playing all these puzzles and I'm like, oh, and then skeletons start popping up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I gotta switch and kill them. And, it's not very hard. It's just frustrating. So.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, I think that you're right. I think the level design is what it really came down to. Is like, you don't want it to be finagly. You want it to just kind of be the solution needs to be easy to implement.
Yeah, I think just in general, like if you're gonna make a physics-based puzzle game, don't rely on chance too much. Don't make the edges so tiny.
The physics, seriously, like I said before, the physics should feel like Lego blocks. The physics should feel like, things happen. When I try and make something happen, it happens. I mean, surprisingly, you wouldn't think so, but in things like Explosion Man.
Yeah.
This was actually true. Like the way that his body flew when you did the explosions was very predictable. Like I kind of felt like I was in control of him, even though it looked like you weren't. Like he would fly over here and fly over there.
They cheated.
They did cheat
because they didn't use a pure physics model. They said, "Oh, from here to here, here's the arc.
Yes.
He's going to always follow that arc."
That's exactly the point I was going to make.
And it was more.
It was more fun, yeah. So if there was like an exploding thing in the wall and you were falling down and you blew up, if you were here or here or here, if you blew up, you're going to hit this target. You know what I mean? Like they fucking nailed it so that even though it looks like it's like an open world Havoc physics engine, it wasn't. There was computation.
And you know what also they did too? They changed the problem space not into here's how you kind of move or do something. It's all timing.
Yes.
So when you fly across something, you have to hit the button at the right time.
And if you hit it, it doesn't matter where you are.
You got it, yeah.
You've got the puzzle.
And it was really fuzzy, too. So, yeah, that's the thing. Maybe it's just too accurate, too much of a simulation, too much of a physics. But,
Explosion Man is a very good lesson on how to do this kind of thing, if you can look at it.
But not a good lesson on how to do online multiplayer.
That was shit.
That was terrible.
The online was shit.
Oh, God. I hear they fixed it, but yeah.
Too late.
Unless Explosion Man 2. So let's hope for it.
Make Explosion Man 2 good.